Richie, you talked about Keon a little bit, so let's talk about that, and then we'll get to our last thing and get out of here. But the fact that, it's been, now that it's out there, we alluded to this last week. I mean, this is something that, now that it's come out and is really, really public knowledge. When I was told about this, it was kind of like, don't say anything. Like, we're not trying to make the program just look absolutely terrible. But I mean, I was told about this in February. Like, I'll name names. I mean, we're at this point. Yeah, Jamie French, 5-star that decommitted from Alabama as soon as Saban left, was absolutely going to commit to Florida State. Reached out to Keon Coleman to kind of ask about his experience in Tallahassee. Keon, obviously, is close to a top round pick that you could be, the number 1 pick of the second round, 33 overall. Reached out to Keon Coleman to see what his experience was like. And Keon basically told him, that wide receiver coach is not good. He is not going to develop you. That is not going to be a good situation for your future if you go there. And I don't necessarily know exactly what wording was used. I don't know exactly what else he and French talked about, but that is absolutely what happened. And so from that moment, Jamie French stopped communicating with Florida State staff. And that was the end of that. And that was where it went. And for Mike to keep him on staff, I mean, what option did he have after after extending him in December? We're going to fire him 2 months later. But that is, to me, a true picture of just where we are right now. Now, I told Harlan this before we got going, Richie. The thought that Jamie French, a 5-star wide receiver, would stay committed to Florida State after 1-8 and not just be at Texas anyway with all the other guys who committed in the summer is laughable. So I'm not even mad at Keon for that, right? So I don't know, just thoughts on that in general.
No, and again, this is not anything against Keon at all. I actually honestly respect him for giving a younger guy, a high school player, his honest, thoughts of what was going on. Because if his total devotion was just to Florida State, like that's where my entire allegiance is. And you lie to a kid to say, "Yeah, come to Florida State, you'll be great. You got great coaching." You know, I think that would say more about Keon's character than the fact that he was openly saying, "Listen, you do not want to play for this guy. You can get better coaching from a guy like Brian Hartline." Right? So I actually respect Keon for doing that. Keon's still been very complimentary of Florida State ever since he's left. I think he really appreciates the 1 year he had here at Florida State. But I have no ill will towards Keon Coleman at all. If the Bills are on local TV, I'm going to watch the game, right? And I'm going to root for Keon. But I don't blame him at all. If he was being truly honest, imagine. Obviously, Jimbo was a QB savant back in his time at Florida State. But say we had a defensive-minded head coach, and our quarterback coach wasn't very good, but Jameis was just Jameis, like that good. And a 5-star quarterback came to campus, and Jameis said, you could probably get better coaching somewhere else. I wouldn't be mad at Jameis for doing that either. So I don't have an issue with it. It speaks more to Mike Norvell and what he needs to do because to our point earlier, I don't think Mike Norvell is getting fired this year. I think he's made fireable offenses based on the product, but he needs to make changes to where you don't have your star players having those conversations with the elite recruits.
Yeah, this is a product of the portal, I think, too. Yeah. I have no problem with a portal, but I mean, Keon was on campus for like 6 months, wasn't he? Like, you're expecting him to just sell out and lie for Florida State? Like, be all in Florida State, like, just, yeah, man, like, this is the greatest thing ever, and lie to recruits when he's asked about it? Like, I'm not. Like, I get it. If a kid like Keon would, like, I think it would be as much as I love Florida State, and I went up there and watched 35-11 yesterday. Like, I went by the Battles and Tailgate, and I still pay money. Like, all those things. I love Florida State. But if you're a kid that's been on campus for 6 or 8 months, and he got to camp, it was in May. It was after the spring. Yeah, 6 months. And somebody asks you the honest truth. Keon's supposed to lie to him and tell him, like, no, this will be good for your career. They haven't sent a receiver that they've recruited out of high school to the league in how long, and you should go sacrifice your career because Keon just loves Florida State that much. I don't think Keon did anything wrong here. And maybe I'm wrong on that. I don't get it, man. Like, that is the narrative that's going around. And Mike's not dumb. Like Mike knows this and knows this. Like if I know this and this is being reported on the bench and 247's talking about this and it's been alluded to for months on the timeline. Like Mike knew all this stuff. And again, I don't even blame Keon. I have no problem with Keon at all saying any of that stuff because at the end of the day, he's right. He is absolutely right. And I don't expect Keon to lie to recruits for us. If your staff is so bad that you're counting on 6-month transfers to lie for you, then you need a new staff, right? Keon's not the problem here. The staff is the problem. That's kind of what it comes down to me too. I don't, outside of that, I don't have too much, and I certainly think that Ron will probably be replaced at the end of this year. If not, then we'll do a show every week talking about, wide receiver coach options. I don't know. Maybe that'll be our preview show at the beginning.
Hot board comes soon.
Yeah. Hot board every week at that point. So just very quickly, I want to tell you guys about Garnet Gold and Roback. Garnet Gold, Noslaw, NOSLAW for 15% off. Roback, it is DFNS20, roback.com. Some of the best gear. Richie's wearing it right now. You can go check them out as well. Just quick love there. And then we'll wrap up and get out. DFNS20 for Roback, and then it is Noslaw, NOSLAW at Garnet Gold for 15% off of your order there.